Alright, welcome in Dharma Boots. Today I figured since tomorrow we're going to be doing our little version of the Hungry Ghost Observance or the Ghost Festival, that today would be a great time to talk about why the people from the past matter, and what those people who came before us, what we should be doing for them and with them, and what the Buddha had to say about that. So, we're going to be talking the Sigalaka Sutta, and it should be a lot of fun. This is the Buddha talking about how we support those who are with us, those who came before us, and yeah, should be a good time. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and in case it goes off, I do have the on-call duty phone, so if I have to kind of step away for a second, don't worry about it, we'll be right back. All right? If not, hey, great. Matter of fact, I'm going to take that out of the pocket so that it is not hitting on machines. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami, tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Anatipata brahmaniska param samadhyami. Rinnadana brahmaniska param samadhyami. Kamesmichachara brahmani thinking 5 or 10?
5.
Okay. Quick little 5-minute meditation. For those who are watching live at home, do feel free to wait until the end of the service and do whatever other meditation you feel is appropriate. For those watching after the live portion is finished, do feel free to join us for our 5-minute pause, meditate more, and then come back for the rest of the service. So, ready? All right. And as we had mentioned, so like tomorrow we will be doing our Ghost Festival ish. I know that usually it would be the end, like the middle or end of August for some parts of the Buddhist tradition, and like Japan doesn't do just one day; they do a whole month from middle of July until the middle of August. And we will be kind of observing that. I could have done this more towards October when Europeans kind of do their Day of the Dead stuff, but I figured since we have the availability, we'll do it when we can. And in order to kind of prime us for that, in order to kind of like prepare for that, we have to look back at those who have come before us and see what they bring to the table, how we're supposed to treat them before we go and actually do that. So we're going to go through Sigalaka's, the Sigalaka Sutta, which is the Buddha talking to a householder, a layperson, who is essentially trying to honor those who have come before him, honor those who he's lost, and the Buddha kind of gives him some instructions on how to do that in an appropriate dharmic way. And I think that kind of makes sense for us. So we're going to do that. So, worshiping the six directions. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha, at the bamboo grove, in the squirrel sanctuary. Then Sigalaka, the householder's son, having got up early and gone out of Rajagaha, was paying homage with wet clothes and hair and with joined palms to the different directions, to the east, the south, the west, the north, the nadir, the zenith, so kind of like all around and then up and down. And the Blessed One, having risen early and dressed, took his robe and bowl and went to Rajagaha for alms. And seeing Sigalaka paying homage to the different directions, he said, "Householder son, why have you got up early to pay homage to the different directions?" "Venerable sir, my father, when he was dying, told me to do so. And so, out of respect for my father's words, which I revere, honor, and hold sacred, I have got up early to pay homage in this way to the six directions." And the Buddha replies, "But householder son, that is not the right way to pay homage to the six directions, according to the Noble One's discipline." "Well, Venerable sir, how should one pay homage to the six directions, according to the Noble One's discipline? It would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the proper way to pay homage to the six directions, according to the Noble One's discipline." "Then listen and attend carefully, householder son, I will speak." "Yes, Venerable," Sigalaka said, and the Blessed One said this. "And how, householder son, does the noble disciple protect the six directions? These six things are to be regarded as the six directions." So we're not talking about just like directions on a map. Like, yes, it could be directions on a map. You have your north, east, west, and south, right? You're up and down. But we take it a slightly different way, right? The directions are not physical directions. The directions are directions of those in our lives, right? So one of the directions is going to be, and he goes into this, the six things that are to be regarded as the six directions. The east denotes mother and father. The south denotes teachers. The west denotes wife and children. The north denotes friends and companions. The nadir denotes servants, workers, and helpers. And the zenith denotes ascetics and Brahmins, who we are told to have amiable conversations with whenever we can. So there are 5, and then he goes into each of the directions. We'll go through a few of them, mostly because they will relate to what we're doing tomorrow. So there are 5 ways in which a son should minister to his mother and father as the eastern direction. He should think, having been supported by them, I will support them. I will perform their duties for them. I will keep up the family tradition. I'll be worthy of my heritage. After my parents' deaths, I will distribute gifts on their behalf. And there are 5 ways in which the parents, so ministered to by their son, Sigalaka, but it also applies to all of us. So ministered to by their Son as the eastern direction will reciprocate. They will restrain him from evil, support him in doing good, teach him some skill, find him a suitable wife, and in time hand over his inheritance to him. In this way, the eastern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. So we can already kind of see the pattern here. This is each of these directions. We are supposed to find ways to kind of make make it peace and to make them free from fear. So no, we're not talking about like going, facing east and making it afraid, making it not afraid. That's not what we're talking about here. We are very clearly talking about the mind and things that are, people that we keep in mind, people that we respect, people that we have, care for, compassion for, respect for. And that is, in this case, the parents, right? So parents and children should have, parents should minister to their, children should minister to their parents, and parents should in turn minister to their children. It's a reciprocal thing. Both of them working together makes it at peace and takes away some of the fear that might, makes it free from fear. So, there are 5 ways in which pupils should minister to their teachers as the southern direction. By rising to greet them, by waiting on them, by being attentive, by serving them, by mastering the skills they teach. And there are 5 ways in which their teachers thus ministered to by their pupils, as the southern direction, will reciprocate. They will give thorough instruction, make sure they have grasped what they should have duly grasped, give them a thorough grounding in all skills, recommend them to their friends and colleagues, and provide them with security in all directions. In this way, the southern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. And since we in the Dharma Boots community have, many of us have experienced losing some friends or similar things, I think it's important for us to also talk about that direction, and then we'll go through the servant's direction as well, because that one matters quite a bit for us. So, there are 5 ways in which a man should minister to his friends and companions as the northern direction. By gifts, by kindly words, by looking after their welfare, by treating them like himself, and by keeping his word. And there are 5 ways in which friends and companions, thus ministered to by a man as the northern direction, will reciprocate. By looking after him when he is inattentive, by looking after his property when he is inattentive, by being a refuge when he is afraid, by not deserting him when he is in trouble, and by showing concern for his children. In this way, the northern direction is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. How many of these things within the military context, I am not exactly reading the warrior ethos, but there's a lot of parallels there, right? We can very clearly see some of those parallels. We'll go back and talk about that after we get through the last one, though. Well, the last one that we're going to do, there are 2 directions that I didn't do because they kind of don't really apply to tomorrow's festivities. At least not in my view. Maybe they do, and I'm just wrong. But there are 5 ways in which a master should, or a leader, we're going to change that to leader because it makes more sense in our context. A leader should minister to his subordinates and workers as the nadir. Moving it into a military context specifically, you can translate those words, or you can kind of understand what those words might have been in the original context. We're going to change it just a little bit to make sure that the meaning is there, but the words meet our context as well. So, there are 5 ways in which a leader should minister to his subordinates as the nadir. By arranging their work according to their strength, by supplying them with food and wages, by looking after them when they are ill, by sharing special delicacies with them, and by letting them off work at the right time. How many leaders could benefit from a good read of this? And there are 5 ways in which subordinates and workers, subordinates, thus ministered to by their leader as the nadir, will reciprocate. They will get up before him, will go to bed after him, take only what they are given, do their work properly, and be bearers of his praise and good repute. In this way, the nadir is covered, making it at peace and free from fear. So those that we work with, those that we have, those that, starting top, we'll start at the front, right? So parents and children, right? We can also include like our, more distant relatives, our descendant, the more further back members of our families. You might call them ancestors. We can look at them and say, okay, well, this is how they helped to make us who we are. This is how we're supposed to reciprocate back. One of those ways is our ghost festival. One of the Ulambana festival that we are going to be observing tomorrow. So if we look at it, the child, that is us, right? So having been supported by those that came before, I will support them. I will perform their duties for them, especially this comes into play, especially when parents maybe start advancing a little bit in age, where maybe we need to take a little bit more care of them, maybe, and you see this a lot in most Buddhist countries where there is a very strong preference for someone in the family will take care of the elder members of the family. There's respect for the elders and respect for those who came before. I will keep up the family tradition, which is kind of interesting in the Buddhist sense because he very clearly did not keep up the family tradition of being in charge, being a king, and he kind of gave that up and took on a new family role. So there is something to be said for looking at and reflecting on what family are we following, what family are we part of, and what traditions are we keeping up, and which ones need to be kept up. Because with every tradition is nothing but innovation that has been kept, really, right? So a tradition is just somebody did this at some point and it turned out good, and then everybody else said, okay, let's do that too. Let's also continue doing that because it kept having value, because it kept doing the thing that it was supposed to do. If it doesn't, then we get rid of it, right? Because there's no sense in we abandon those traditions that are not helpful, that are not wholesome, that are not skillful, that do not continue to provide value and benefit to those who are engaging in them. So I think probably a different way of looking at this would be, I will manage the family's traditions, and those ones that are worth keeping we'll keep. But we can all, I guess, from our own individual family standpoint, look at that and ask ourselves, okay, is this the right way? Is this not the right way? And that's us reflecting and contemplating. That is us meditating on that, and that's good to do. I will be worthy of my heritage. And in this sense, we as Buddhists, we have a heritage as Buddhists to exhibit and exemplify, right? To embody compassion and respect and loving kindness and altruistic joy and equanimity. That is the heritage that we are supposed to maintain. Not necessarily the physical heritage of, I am related to this person by this person by this person by this person, and thus I have to do what this person did. That's kind of senseless, right? There's a time and a place where we have to look at it and say, what that person did in that context, is our context still the same? No, it is not. Our context is very different from, say, 10, 12 generations ago. 10 or 12 generations ago, they didn't, 10 or 12 generations ago, there were no cars. There were no, no airplanes. We were still building buildings, but they were very different, right? We ate different things. We processed things differently. The economy was very different. Everything was different. So if we're sitting there saying, well, because this guy did it this way, I have to do it this way, No. Your heritage is not some person. Your heritage is the character, the integrity, the qualities that they brought to the table. That you inherit. But we have inherited not just a worldly kind of heritage. We also have the heritage from the Buddha, right? And the Buddha's heritage is very much contemplation, reflection, compassion, awareness, all of that, right? All of the four Brahmaviharas, all of the things that we're supposed to do, and the things that we're supposed to practice to deepen our capacity for liberation, to deepen, to come closer to liberation. That is our heritage. The liberation itself is our heritage. And we maintain that by trying to seek it out ourselves in our context. Not because the Buddha did, but because we can do it too. Right? The Buddha just gave us the example. We have to look at it and say, okay, in my context, in what we have here and now, in this reality, just as it is, this is how we seek liberation. He turned the wheel of the Dharma, and that wheel is still going. We have to keep following it, right? We have to keep moving it along. So, yeah. Okay. And the only reason why I brought pupils in, I could have probably skipped that one too. Pupils and teachers is because we do a lot of training in the military, right? So those who have trained us, whether they are still in the military or not, whether they have long since retired or, by other, through other means exited the military, they gave us something. They trained us, they taught us, and we do need to have respect for that because they put effort into doing that. Did they always get it right? No, and that's okay, right? It's not important to have everything perfect. It's important that they put in the effort and they tried. They did what they could to improve our lives and our capacity to do what we do. So for them, we are supposed to rise and greet them, wait on them, be attentive, serve them, and master the skills that they're teaching. And they are supposed to, for us, sometimes they don't do it perfectly, but this is what they're supposed to do. They will give thorough instruction, make sure that we have grasped what we're supposed to have grasped, give us a thorough grounding in all skills, recommend us to our friends and colleagues, and they are supposed to provide us with security while they're doing that. Security not so much in the sense of a physical security, but in the sense of when we have this knowledge, we are more secure, we are more free from fear, we are more at peace because we know what we're doing. So, now for friends, particularly those who we've lost, let's go back and read this one. There are 5 ways in which a man should minister to his friends and companions as the northern direction. By gifts, by kindly words, by looking after their welfare, by treating them like himself, and by keeping his word. So we are supposed to make sure that our friends have things that show that we care about them, gifts, by kindly words, again, by looking after their welfare. Now this comes into play while they are alive, but even those friends who we've lost, we still have to look after their welfare. We have to look after their memory, and we have to make sure that they are not being disparaged after they have passed, right? We also need to do the same for those of our friends who are living, who are, currently here. We have to make sure that people aren't disparaging them for, their own selfish gain or whatever reason they might have. We need to make sure that we are taking care of their welfare, and we are to treat them like ourselves. We are to treat our friends as we would treat ourselves, and that's important. If you would not like someone to look after your stuff and make sure that you're being taken care of, and that your family is secure, whatever. Okay, that is a choice. Most of us, however, would like to look at it and say, okay, I'm going to take this like I'm going to see my friend, and if I would like him to or her to protect my stuff, I should protect his or her stuff, right? We protect back and forth. We do that to make sure that we are all taking care of each other. And by keeping his word, right? So if we say that we're going to go and meet our friend, if we say that we're definitely going to be there when there's trouble, then we probably better do that. That'd be a good idea, right? That's kind of not kind of important, it's really important, right? And our friends and companions should reciprocate by looking after us when we are inattentive, looking after our stuff when we are inattentive, by being a refuge when we are afraid. That's an interesting one. So we as Buddhists, we as Dharma-Buddhists, we are supposed to be, I'm sorry, it's super hot in here. I'm sweating all over the place. We are supposed to think of this on the other end, right? You are the friend to somebody, right? That friend is afraid and they need a refuge. That's what you're supposed to do by taking care of their welfare, by looking after them as you would look after yourself, right? If you would want someone to be in your corner when you're having a tough time, you need to be doing that too. And that's exactly what a friend is supposed to do, right? To be a refuge when your friend is afraid, or when you're afraid, having friends who will be that refuge for you. We need to do both, right? And as Dharma Buddhists, as a community, we can kind of do that. Maybe we have to do that through distance, maybe we have to do that through digital means now, but we can all do that. We can all be there as a part of the community to work together. And also by not deserting them when they're in trouble. We would like someone, if we're in trouble, we would like someone to be in our corner, to be with us, to walk by our side as we face down at whatever trouble it is. We would like someone to be there, right? We should do that for them too, right? Because all of these, they are reciprocal. We at some point we are going to be the friend, and at some point we are going to need that friend, and we are going to be in that. We're going to be in both roles at some point, right? So it's good to know about both so we can practice both when they're needed. And by showing concern for his children, so many of the Dharma Buddhists do not have children, and for those of us that do, it's always nice to have somebody to help as you're raising a human being into hopefully an adult human being. Yeah, because it's not easy, right? So having friends, having people in our lives who will do that for us, who will ask about our kids and make sure that if we are stumbling or if we are struggling and we need a little help, that our friends are there to help, to kind of like either show us the direction to that help or to bring that help to us. Because raising kids is not easy. It's tough. It's a challenge. So, all right, and the last one, and then because I think we've gone quite long. So the last one, we'll do this fairly quickly. This one is I just want to read this one directly once again, substituting, of course, in place of, so in the Buddha's context, right, he's talking to a layperson who would have been, as a householder's son, he's gonna have some wealth, he's gonna have some stuff, he's gonna have some prestige, he's gonna have some land, right? So he's also going to have some servants, and that would make him the master of the household. So the terms master and servant here are used. We are going to kind of like change that just a little bit for our context. And instead of master and servant, we chose leader and subordinate, because in the military context, that's much more appropriate and also much more accurate to how we live and how we function, right? So leaders and subordinates in this case are how we are going to phrase that. So, there are 5 ways in which a leader should minister to his subordinates as the nadir. By arranging their work according to their strength. How many times, like, if we were doing talent management in any way, shape, or form, this would be painless. Like, this would be number 1 on the check, like, do we manage our personnel well and make sure that they're given work according to their strengths? Check, right? Do we do that? Most of the time, let's be honest, no. Let's be super clear here. The military has not yet figured out talent management. We really have not. We've made efforts. We have tried. We have put in a lot of resources towards talent management, but we're not there yet. We do still see so many times where leader X will tell subordinate Y, you're gonna go do this thing, not because you're good at it, but because I need it done, right? And that's not the way we should be doing it. That if we were doing it right, we would say, okay, I have person X and person Y. Person X is really good at this thing. Person Y is just not. They're good at this other stuff, right? I'm gonna put person X in here, not person Y. That requires us to think. That requires us to put in mental energy, to put in mental effort. And a lot of leaders, because of the way the system is built, we don't have that time. So we default to, okay, person X is here, person X is off doing this other thing, person Y is here. Person Y, go do it. We don't even care if you're good at it, just do it. We could do better. We could. So by supplying the subordinates with food and wages, that we most of the time do fairly well. We do make sure that even if we're out in the field, they're gonna have some kind of food. It may not be great, like it's probably not gonna be great, but at least it's kind of food. And anybody who's been out to the field and had some field eggs knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's food, right? It's not great, but it's food. By looking after them when they're ill. This one I think we actually do a reasonably good job at. We don't do it perfectly, but most leaders, if you have a subordinate or somebody in your unit who's in the hospital, you'll go and check on them, right? You'll go to the hospital and make sure they're actually still alive and okay, and make sure that whatever they need to kind of recuperate is made available to them. Those resources are there. By sharing special delicacies with them, like this one could go either way, right? This on one level, this kind of looks like fraternization almost, but on another level, this is things like military balls and whatnot. And yeah, we do quite a bit with that. That's a thing that exists that we do. So yeah, I guess we could say we kind of do that one. And the last one, I have a love-hate relationship with this one because we see it happen so many ways, and not all of them are very good. In fact, most of them are not. So a leader will minister to his subordinates by letting them off work at the right time. What does close of business mean in a military setting? Nothing, really. It's a nice little sign point, on a calendar that says, okay, by this time, you should have your work for the day done, and you should be heading home. Most of the time, we miss that. Most of the time, we just don't manage to get everything done in an appropriate amount of time. So that's not a thing that we take into account, and we should do better at that. As leaders, that's a thing that we should be doing, and if we're following the Buddha's instructions, we definitely should be doing. But yeah, we kind of dropped the ball on that one quite a bit, don't we? Yeah. So now, in return, those who are subordinate to us, those who are, who we are leading, you might call them followers. Subordinates is the word we typically will use in the military. So, 5 ways in which the subordinates, thus ministered to by their leader, will reciprocate. They will get out before him. Most of us do that. Like the NCOs planning out PT before the day starts is a thing. So is the platoon leader always going to be awake when NCOs are planning out PT? Probably not. So that one I think we probably do a pretty decent job at. Going to bed after the leader, that one, interesting. I suppose we could argue that one a little bit. I'm not going to because I think we are kind of running a little bit long on time. So they will go to bed after him. They will take only what they are given. You would hope that subordinates are not stealing from you. But I know what the U4 Mafia does. Like, I got it, right? I have seen some of them in action. Well, not seen, but I have heard some of their escapades and tales of, oh yeah, well, this motor pool was left open and we happen to need this thing, and that unit clearly didn't, so yeah, we know what happens. Come on. Tactically acquiring is a thing. Should it be? Probably not, but is it? Yeah. They should do their work properly, which I would argue most of the time that happens. Like, sometimes not so much. Like, sometimes you have some idiots who, bless their hearts, they try and fail. But most of the time, I think we do, we are given tasks, we are given orders, and we go and we take care of that task, or we take care of that order in an appropriate fashion. Most of the time. Not always. There are exceptions, but most of the time that works out pretty good. And the last one is to be bearers of the leader's praise and repute. So if the leader is taking care of his or her subordinates, this one should come as a given. My leadership takes care of me. They make sure that my kiddo is watched. They make sure that my kiddo they know my kiddo. They know me. They know my situation. And if I need to go do something, most of the time they're like, yeah, go get the job done. And I respect that. I respect the fact that they're doing what they can to make sure that I'm taken care of, that soldiers around me are taken care of. They do a reasonable job with that. Some leaders, not so much. Like, oh, I could go into tales of how this definitely was not being the case. And those leaders probably don't deserve as much praise and good repute from their subordinates, from their soldiers. But provided the leader is doing things the right way, it should almost come as a given that their subordinates will look at him and say, this is a good leader, this is a good dude, this is a good human being, I respect this guy, I will follow him. And I've had lots of cases where soldiers will look at a specific leader and be like, I would follow that guy into hell. If he needed me to commandeer a tank to go take out, this, I would do it. I don't know if they actually would, but they definitely say they will, right? And you kind of get the idea that this is a person I respect and I will take care of whatever I need to make sure that their stuff gets done. That's the kind of thing that if you look at it, what they're really saying there is not so much, I would do all of these terrible things for this person. They're saying, I respect this person enough to make sure that his needs are taken care of too. Right? So, as we go into our Ghost Festival, those who have come before us, whether they are actual ghosts or whether they are army ghosts because they PCS'd and we don't know where they are anymore, let's remember them. And let's remember what they did for us and what we are supposed to be doing to make sure that we are doing right by them. So, reciprocal stuff. Right? They taught us, now it's our turn. They showed us the way, now it's our turn. Let's show them the way. All right. Isn't quite enough of that. So we'll go ahead and close it out super quick and then get moving. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Bhutam saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Anatipata gramani skaparam samadhyami, adinnalana gramani skaparam samadhyami. Sumi chachara gramani skaparam samadhyami. Savana gramani skaparam samadhyami. Srameraya madhya pammanatana gramani skaparam samadhyami. Thanks for watching, Dharma Roots. We'll see you guys next time.